I was type 2 diabetic, clinically obese, suffered with daily debilitating migraines that would make me blind, for which I was on 3 different medications. Good morning. Pleasure to be here. I have 111 slides that I'd like to get through, so 50 minutes probably isn't going to cut it, but if you could indulge me for 2 minutes, I'd like to offer my gratitude to Prof and the team, Jana, Maritza, and Jane, for the invitation to come and speak with you guys today, flying all the way from the UK. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'd like to also thank the speakers. I think the speakers have been absolutely incredible. And also I'd like to thank each and every one of you, because the event wouldn't take place without you guys. So let's just all put our hands together, and what a fantastic event. Okay, buckle your seatbelts, because you're in for a little ride. So this is me, Richard Smith, Keto Pro. You need to bear this in mind, because my talk is going to deviate away from this, and it's going to seem like I'm coming away from the ketogenic lifestyle, but we're going to drop some bombs and break some hearts potentially. But yeah, stay seated, because this is going to be an exciting ride. A little bit about me. I'm a nutritionist. I'm going to go into my journey ever so slightly, but I don't want to take up too much time talking about my journey. But I was once incredibly unwell, and we'll get into this a little as we go. But in short, after I managed to change my health and well-being through changing my diet, I decided to retrain as a nutritionist. Much of what I learned was incorrect, but still it was a loop or a hoop that I needed to jump through in order to get my certification and accreditation. Now, I knew that the changes that I made allowed me to go from A to C. I knew that living this way allowed me to change my health and well-being, but I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to understand the B. So I decided to also study things like molecular biochem, epigenetics, clinical blood analysis, so on and so forth. Last year, I recorded 750 hours of CBD points towards research and development. This, for me, started as a passion and has now become an obsession. I feel like I have found a secret, and I want to tell the world about my secret. Disclosures. Thank you. I'm the founder of the Keto Pro Limited, theketopro.com. This is the biggest low-carb ketogenic business within the UK, multi-million-pound business, which I started from scratch. It's seen me become homeless. I put in 3 houses, everything that I owned. I was homeless for several months in order to fuel and fund my business. Yet my talk is going to come completely away from this. The reason I've put that in is I want you to bear that in mind. I am a big fan of low-carb ketogenic lifestyles, but what I'm going to teach you today is probably going to deviate a little away from this. I'm the owner of several other low-carb keto brands within that space also. So my talk today, carnivore, unlocking meat-fueled health, but we're going to deviate slightly away from this. This used to be me. Richard Smith. That part hasn't changed. So I actually gained 3.5 stone on top of this, but I never had any pictures taken. I was type 2 diabetic, clinically obese, suffered with daily debilitating migraines that would make me blind, for which I was on 3 different medications. I suffered with depression, anxiety, arthritic pains. The daily debilitating migraines were incredibly frustrating. I would suffer with these every single day. I was on 3 different medications to maintain. I also had to take additional medication in order to combat this. The anxiety and depression was the worst for me. My life was quite literally spent living in boxes. I lived in my box. The only time I would leave my box was to jump into my metal box. I would drive my metal box to my place of work, a big box, and I would work inside a small box inside this bigger box. And then at the end of the day, I would jump back into my metal box. I would drive home, back to my small box. My life was quite literally spent living in boxes. How many of you guys can attest to things like depression and anxiety? By a show of hands. Not as many as one would imagine. I'm sure there's a lot more than you. This for me was incredibly debilitating, and this was my diet. I was the poster boy for a healthy diet. Yes, I deviated. I did consume compounds that I shouldn't, but I predominated carbohydrates, little or moderate protein, and little to no fat. The more that I deviated down this path, the sicker that I became. I made some changes. I removed bread. Not understanding anything about nutrition, I knew that bread bloated me. So I thought, if I remove the bread, maybe it would give the illusion that I wasn't so clinically obese. Within 2 months, I lost 28 pounds. I wasn't dieting. I wasn't counting calories. I didn't even understand what a carbohydrate was. I just removed bread. The following next 10 months, so 12 months into my journey, I managed to lose. Thank you. 107 pounds, that's 7.5 stone. I reversed my diabetes. I was now migraine-free, depression-free, anxiety-free, medication-free. Everything that I suffered with went away. I began to compete as an amateur bodybuilder because I wanted to show the world how powerful this lifestyle was. Now, one of the things that I forgot to mention during my conditions was I would struggle to walk a flight of stairs. I would struggle to climb a flight of stairs without stopping or being severely out of breath. Now, within 12 months, I'd reversed all of these conditions. 4 to 5, so all of those things, these things that you see there, they occurred within 12 months. This took 4 or 5 years, but I like the picture, so I thought I'd use it. So my journey saw me become a professional athlete. I went on to become British and European champion.